Hello there, my name is Lilly and in this video I'm going to show you how I drew the cover art for the 10th book in R.A. Spratt's Friday Barnes series. It is drawn in colour pencil, so I'll try to condense my knowledge for this video. R.A. Spratt's series has been super successful. She has a background in writing comedy for TV and there are plans for an 11th book. I've been lucky to be making the cover art for the Australian versions of the Friday Barnes books for the past 8 years. Here's what my original pitch for the character looked like from 2014. The description was that she's very academic, smart, intense, and funny. She also wears a green pork pie hat. The process for this cover art usually goes like, R.A. Spratt will have an idea of what she would like, and I interpret this in colour pencil. For this cover, she wanted to reference The Scream by Edvard Munch. I start with 2 sketches. The first one was a bit stiff. I wanted to rigidly stick to what she looked like in previous versions. In the second sketch, I was a bit warmed up and it's more fluid and character filled. The editors preferred the second sketch as well. They did ask for some modification, which is quite normal. In this case, her watch needed to be removed and there were some tweaks to her bangs. Both sketches are drawn on Arche Satiné 300 GSM paper. This is also what I use for the final artwork. This is my favourite paper for colour pencil work as it has less tooth and is thick enough to take a lot of pencil work without the paper tearing. Now if you aren't sure what tooth is, let me explain. Paper has high and low parts on the surface. It looks like a bunch of fibers close up. This is why when you colour in, if you are using a blunt pencil, unless you're really pressing down, it can't get into these sunken parts. When you use a sharp pencil, it can. This is one reason why I keep my pencils super sharp. I like being able to fill in as much of the low parts as possible. My method is to slowly work up the colour. By progressively applying more pressure on subsequent layers, you slowly flatten the tooth without breaking the tip of your pencil, which can cause the broken tip to dig into the paper in a way you might not want for the finished drawing. Burnishing, which is where you apply pressure to flatten the tooth of the paper, is something I will do toward the end if needed. Here are all of my pencils and tools. Some are very old from my teenage years. You can use a pencil extender to get the most out of your pencils. I also like to use paper blending stumps as well as soft dry brushes and kneadable erasers. Now that I have the sketch finalized, I start by reinforcing the outline with colour pencil. Over the course of the drawing, I will do this a few times as it tends to smudge as you work on things. For areas with the same colour, I often use pastel pencils for the underlayer. These ones I have are very chalky and not at all waxy. They have a tendency to have sharp bits of random pigment, so I use them very cautiously and don't turn them as often. Once the first layer is on, I can be a bit more brave with pressure. I also use a paper blending stump to smooth out the pigment. For Friday's hair, I tend to apply more pressure at the start and then lift that toward the end to help create a wispy effect. I use a brush to soften the pigment. The piece of paper under my hand is to prevent smudging. Here I'm using a mechanical pencil to get really detailed areas in the eye. One thing you can do to blend with colour pencils is to use a lighter colour over the top. I'm using white to do this here. You can see here I'm about to use green on the underside of her skin. In painting, you can use complementary colours next to each other to make your paintings hum, by which I mean they look more lively when put next to each other. I'm doing this on a very small scale here. It takes a lot of time to build up the colour how I want it, but I think it's worth it. Here's how the final drawing looked when scanned in. And here's how it looks with Kirby Armstrong's beautiful cover design. If you'd like to buy R.A. Spratt's Friday Barnes books, they're in bookshops all over Australia and online. The 10th one came out this month. It was a delight to draw Friday again, and I'm looking forward to the 11th one. If you have any questions about illustrating for cover art or using colour pencils, let me know in the comments and I'll try my best to help. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this inspires you to go create something beautiful for yourself. I'll see you next time.